summary statement from Coach Gard, and any questions?
All right, obviously, Matt's got a heck of a team. Knowing that coming in, I thought watching him on film, maybe as complete of a Purdue team as I've seen for a while, maybe since back to Robbie Hummel and Etwan Moore in that group, but it could hurt you in so many different ways. I think that area has really grown with them, specifically coming off from last year, where you could lock in on Swanigan and Haas, and Hammond's obviously inside, but their perimeter game has improved from three immensely, and it presents a lot of problems. But for us, our guys kept battling, even though we couldn't put the ball in the ocean at times for stretches. I think 9 of 19 at one point from 2 feet in the first half, or for the first half, and then slightly better in the second half. But you've got to be able to score. I thought defensively, we did what we needed to do. Points per possession were within what would be successful, or give you a chance for success. For some things we did defensively until that one little stretch where it was like a 14-2 run at about the 13-minute mark of the second half, where we had a layup we didn't convert, and then it started to snowball on us. We could never get back. But proud of our guys while they battle, because it was extremely physical. One of the more physical games we've been in a long time. And obviously, like I said, Purdue's got a heck of a team, and team we knew that was going to be. We have to make shots against a team like this. Historically, that's been our key against a team like Purdue, and really any team, but specifically a team that has that much presence inside. We have to be able to counter for those things from the perimeter, and we weren't able to do that.
Questions?
Greg, you mentioned it briefly, but you were getting it going. Half was playing well, and then Trice misses the layup, and then they run 3 plays in a row to Klein, and then
Right.
Instead of being down 2, you're down 14.
10, yeah, it was 14-2.
Yeah.
It was a 7-possession spurt or a segment where it was 14-2. I think they had 2 threes and 2 twos, and we only had 1 basket in that stretch. And that was, I think we come out of the timeout and turned it over. They come out and ran a little drag screen for Klein, and we ran under the screen, and he hits a 3, and then, like I said, it kind of snowballed from there. So they converted on their end. Obviously, it's maybe a little different scenario had we convert the layup and it becomes a 2-point game, and that's where you need to be coming down the stretch. But that little, like I said, for 64 possessions, I think the game was, what our stat guy told me, that a 7-possession segment can tip the table one way or the other.
Greg, did you feel like there was something that Purdue was doing defensively, especially on the perimeter, that was disruptive to guys like Candy and other guys, or is this just one of those nights where shots?
Well, no, they've always teams have locked in on Bronson and shadowed him and made it hard for him to free up, and basically gone to a position where they're playing 4-on-4, and that's where we've got to have other pieces be able to make shots and relieve some of that pressure off of him. I thought there was times where he settled for jump shots at times, and times where he could have turned the corner more. But obviously they were jamming the paint pretty well too, and he didn't feel he could get there. So they did a good. I thought Thompson did a good job. Every time I was watching that action away from the ball, he wasn't leaving him too far. So you got to be able to get it from other places at times when they make that a priority.
Greg, what are your general impressions of Caleb Swanigan? And have you seen some growth in some ways from last year?
Well, I thought he had improved from our game in Madison last year, where I don't think he even scored until the game back here at the end of the year in March, and he had 27. He had improved as much as anybody we had seen through the course of conference play. And then obviously this year, I think he's taken it to a whole new level. I mean, he's to be able to hurt you in so many ways. He's relentless on the glass. He's that in itself, just how he rebounds the ball is an issue to have to deal with. And now you got to respect him to 3. And his play around the rim, he's gotten better from the free throw line, and he's taken a step that you would think a player at that level would take. He's taken it to a pretty elite level, and he's a handful because he's quick enough. If you put the biggest guy we have on him, but he's quick enough that he counters that, and he's powerful enough to handle guys that are maybe a little bit stronger, and he's a heck of a player, and he plays the game the right way. He plays so hard. That's the thing, regardless of what tape I put in, how hard he played was something that really jumped out.
Greg, you alluded to all the misses from point blank range, especially in the first half. Purdue's size certainly has a lot to do with that, but do you
Right.
think the tendency then on your guys' part is maybe to rush things, knowing that they don't have much space to work with?
Well, we so much rushed it as we went away from contact at times. You know, when I had the angle, when I could watch, and the film will tell me a better story, but I thought we went away from contact instead of finishing, not necessarily towards the defender, but towards our target, towards the square. And there was times we did it, and obviously converted, and then other times where we, you know, didn't jump stop in the paint, didn't play off 2 feet, didn't go momentum back towards the backboard, and that size has something to do with it. Obviously, Haas specifically, I saw him at the Big Ten Media Day, and I said, hey, you look like you've grown. You know, so it just presents some problems in there that you have to deal with, and like I said, the counter is not to go 2 for 14 from 3. You know, to be able to stretch them a little bit more and force, you know, them to extend a little bit, which, you know, they make it hard for you to get in the paint, and did a pretty good job on the perimeter on us as well.
Greg, specifically about Haas, comes off the bench, and when they have Swanigan on top of that, this how difficult of a matchup is that, because you can't really go after them and try to foul them out because they've got the other guy there.
Well, I think the person you got to give the credit to is Vince Edwards, that has filled that. You know, he came off, was on the bench early in the year, and they kind of juggled that a little bit. You know, and I thought coming in, he was an X factor in terms of how he's bought into that rotational piece of it. And I think sometimes in some lineups that makes them more explosive offensively because they're a little more mobile with Vince on the floor. And defensively, obviously the same thing, more mobile with Vince on the floor because he can go guard 4s. And you know, so I think it's a credit to obviously all 3 of them because it's not just Isaac and it's not just Caleb. They all 3 have to be on the same page and understand that's part of Matt's plan with it. So that's a credit to them for all working together to make their team as good as possible.
We'll take one more.
Nigel went 4 for 12 today with 10 points. I think he had 30 points against Purdue last year. What were they able to do with Nigel just to limit him offensively?
I think number 1, the size was a factor when he did get in the paint. Number 2, I'll have to go back through the film again, but some of those things I talked about with not going towards the target, not playing off 2 feet into contact, the type of shots he ended up taking. And settled too for some off the dribble jump shots at times when we could have changed sides of the floor. And when we did do that, we did move the ball. We got some decent looks. We didn't always all go down, but the majority of our production offensively, and we'll look were possessions that we changed sides of the floor and had a lot of what we call ball swings as we chart them. We got stagnant at times, and that hurt us. And we got 2 one-sided and 2 dribble happy. And then we got out of it for a little while. We moved the ball a little better, but again, that spurt when it was 14-2, we didn't do some good things offensively, and they obviously knocked down a couple threes and an offensive rebound for a 3 and a couple other plays that were the difference. But Nigel, we'll look at this. We do all the shots and analyze and evaluate what was a good shot and what was not.
Thanks, Coach. Wisconsin
Thank you.
players will be available outside the locker room.